This is Happiness Solved with America's happiness coach, Sandee Sgarlata.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's episode. I am so happy you're here. Happiness Solved is dedicated to giving you content that is empowering, motivational, inspirational, and of course, a dose of happiness. It's my way to give back to the world and share other people's stories and wisdom. This thing called life can be challenging, and the stories that are shared demonstrate that no matter what you have gone through, you can choose happiness. Before I introduce today's guest, I want to talk to you about shifting your perspective. This is so important because there are so many things that frustrate us or stress us out. And if we were able to shift our perspective of the situation, we would be so much happier. You see, we all have our own perspective, which is the way we view the world. It's like the lens in which we see things. When we shift our perspective, it changes our perception of life. Our perception is the way we think about or understand someone or something, and it is also what we understand or interpret from our five senses. However, our perception is shaped by our past experiences, feelings, and thoughts. Think of it as looking at the glass half full or half empty. In short, when we change our perspective, it changes our perception, which in turn changes our beliefs and ultimately changes our reality. So change your perspective, change your life. It sounds simple, yet it can be very challenging for some to actually achieve. If you would like to learn more about this topic and how to work with me personally, please visit sandeesgarlata.com to schedule a free 15-minute call with me and to get access to a free digital copy of my book, Happiness Solved. I also invite you to join my growing community by texting me at 703-420-3472 to receive daily inspirational messages. Again, that number is 703-420-3472. Thank you for listening today, and I hope you enjoyed today's interview. Today's guest is Joi Mebane. She is the strong Black female CEO behind the Look By Joi. She has been one of America's go-to experts and innovators in the microblading industry. During the pandemic, she created the 60-second brow kit, which helped those stuck at home get their brows done professionally. Now she travels the country to sold-out conferences teaching men and women how to open successful brow and microblading businesses. She has such great information to share, and I hope you enjoy this episode. Joi, hello. How are you today? I'm so happy to have you on my show.
Hey, Sandee, how are you?
I'm doing great. Better now that we got all of our little technical things out of the way. Love it when things just happen.
Well, you do podcasts and I do eyebrows. We might not be the best at tech, though.
Well, you learn as you go. So, Joi, like I said before we started recording, everybody has a story, and I love sharing stories about, just how people overcome their challenges in life. And then, now you're this hugely successful CEO of your own company. But I'd like to hear how you got to that place. So tell us your story. How did Joi get to where she is today?
Like at the beginning of it, or like somewhere towards the end, or how I survived COVID?
Tell me your story.
Okay.
Yeah, whatever you want to tell.
But well, I started actually doing eyebrows in high school, so it was just one of the things that I did. My mom, one day I wanted to get my brows done, and my mom dropped me. Well, she took me to go get my brows done, and the lady was taking forever. So my mom was like, if you stay, then you're gonna have to walk home. And I was like, I'll walk home, not thinking that she really was gonna leave me. And she really left me. So needless to say, stayed a little longer, another hour, got my brows done, and I had to walk home in the hot Atlanta heat. So by the time I reached my house, my mom saw my brows. She was like, you could have did that yourself. And I was like, you think so? So she hands me this razor, and it's not the razor that I teach with in my classes. It's more like a box cutter, probably. And she's like, "You can use this razor, and then when the hair grows back, you just clean it up a little." And I was like, "Okay." So that's essentially what I did, and I learned how to do brows. And one of my friends were like, "You did your brows?" And I said, "Yeah, you want me to do yours?" So she said, "Yeah." And needless to say, we're still friends about 25 years later. So I did her brows, and I started doing brows, for a drill team. And then when I got to college, I turned my dorm room into a brow booth, basically, and I would do everybody's eyebrows and makeup. So that's how I initially started, like with my eyebrow journey. So um after that, I was in college, and I was going to school, and I really wasn't feeling it. I was just like, I really don't want to do this. I really don't want to do nursing, and I know I'm not going to go get my master's. Like, this is it for me. And I was working at a makeup counter, and somebody approached me about opening up an eyebrow kiosk. And long story short, like, I was in college, and I was like, I opened up the brow kiosk, and it was full time because it was in the mall. So in my mind, I was like, okay, I can't do these two full time things. So what I'll do is I'll try out this business, and if the business doesn't work, I'll just come back to college. And so 18 years later, the business is still going.
Wow.
And I tell people, I'm not trying to tell them to drop out of college, but that's just what happened to me.
Well, yeah, and college isn't for everybody, and depending on what you want to do, it's sometimes it's not really needed. So that's totally okay.
Right.
So
Hmm.
what types of programs are you offering now? Because I read your bio, and it seems like you're doing a lot of really great things.
Yeah. So right now, I am offering a couple of programs. Of course, the microblading and micro shading training that we do, we actually spent the last 2 years, and even during COVID, we were traveling around the country teaching people how to actually perform this semi-permanent service. And um and it was really good. Of course, before COVID, I would travel to different trade shows and teach it at trade shows, and also have my own private classes. So fast forward, we did the tour for the last 2 years, and now we do have a couple of pop-up classes in person, but of course we're transitioning everything online to our school, our online training school.
So so how does your classes and whatnot, how does that change people's lives?
Well, it really, and it's really touching. Is one thing I'm missing about actually being able to go out and teach, and actually being in front of people and talking to them, because it's easier for them to actually share their stories on how it has and how they know it will change their lives. So, a lot of people, they need extra income, of course, is the most obvious. And some people are retiring and they need something else to do. And of course, during COVID, a lot of people got laid off, so they needed to go in a different route, found a different career. And a lot of people are just happy that they can do something and use their creativity, because a lot of jobs are not don't allow people to be creative, and this is especially for someone who's in the beauty industry or somebody who has a talent with beauty services. This is a great outlet for using your creativity.
Yeah. Do you have any stories of students that you've trained where it just really made a complete difference in their lives and the lives of their family?
Yes, I mean several students. I had one student, she left, she was able to save up enough money and leave her abusive relationship with her and her kid. So she, was able to save up and move out and, get herself together so she wasn't dependent on him.
Oh my
I
gosh,
have
that's
an
incredible.
Isn't that incredible?
That is,
And
yeah.
then I have several students who go through like a traditional like beauty academy, like for cosmetology or aesthetics, and they really don't propel in those exact services. So, sometimes they feel lost and they like, I went to beauty school and I really can't do anything, but I really like this industry. So I introduced them into something else, which is kind of how it helped me because I'm a licensed cosmetologist and I was like, I know I'm not going to do hair. And, I started off doing brows and it was a niche service. So I found my way and it was something I was not going to find in cosmetology school. So that's another way. And then, of course, um, a lot of people, you know, they have jobs that they just flat out just don't like.
Right.
They
Yeah.
have jobs that they flat out just don't like or they feel like they're stuck. And, I told them the service. In the service, you can actually charge $700 for the service. So you can charge $700 for the service and you have a job that you don't like that's not paying a lot. If you really get down to it and work, you can surpass that in a week,
Right.
so
Yeah. Yeah, that's really incredible that it's kind of like twofold. You're giving people a skill, but you're helping people, change their lives, which is really incredible. So, podcast is happiness solved. What brings you the most peace and happiness and joy? Since your name is
what
Joy.
brings me the most since my name is Joy,
Right.
shameless plug to myself.
There you go.
What gives me the most peace, most happiness is just freedom to do what I want to do. And in even in my career and in my journey, so I started off having a store, like a store in the middle of the mall where we sold the products, we did the services. And of course, as an entrepreneur, as it looked like from looking at an entrepreneur, everybody's like, "Oh, you have your own business, you can do what you want to do." But it wasn't the case at first. So I had to put a lot of work into it. I had to build up, I had to save, I had to invest. And, fast forward years later, I don't have to work as much because what I needed from it was monetary. So now what I get from it, I still get monetary benefits, but I get the pleasure of working with women and inspiring them, talking to them daily. And then I don't even have to do it as much. So I have more freedom to actually do what I need to do or what I really want to do. Like go to the gym, spend time with mom, have lunch with my friends, be on a podcast with you. So the freedom gives me the most happiness and joy.
Oh, that's wonderful. So, what advice can you give someone who is looking to start a business and, really don't know which way to go?
So one thing that I give people advice on as far as starting a business and not actually knowing which steps to take is to find out what's missing in whatever industry you're in or whatever industry you're thinking about going into. Okay. So just like me again, for a prime example, I was in the cosmetology field. I'm licensed cosmetology. So I realized that people were missing a place to get their eyebrows done and their makeup done. So that's what I focused on. Now I could have easily focused on hair and its niches in hair, like short hair, braids, wigs, all those things. But those just weren't my fancy. It just wasn't what I leaned more towards. So finding your niche is something I always tell people to focus on because a lot of people get in and they'll try a whole bunch of things and say they're going to offer a whole bunch of things. And it just makes you look like you're all over the place. So come in looking like an expert and hone down on one thing.
Love it. Yes, that is so true. And really having that niche is so important. So, when somebody, you have somebody, they've started their business, what advice can you give someone who is struggling and feels like they want to give up?
So when people start their business and they're struggling and they feel like they want to give up, I always ask them, why do you want to give up now? Okay. And the reason I ask them why is because usually it's something superficial or something that you could just you can almost fix right away. So, but besides, it might be we'll take money out of it. So of course we know we want to make money, but we'll take money out of the business. A lot of people, they feel like they're not making it because they see everybody further along with them. And I used to be like, well, where do you see them further along than you at? And they might say, well, on Instagram. I say, okay, take the Instagram app off your phone and see how you feel this week. You know? So, or they'll say, well, my family said such and such. Okay, well, stop talking to them this week. Okay? And just see how you feel by Saturday. So just if you take the money out of it and actually ask yourself, why are you trying to quit? Most of the time, it has nothing to do with money. And even that second, even if it's something second, that's usually what it is, why people want to quit.
Yeah, no, that's great advice because I know it's hard when people are starting a business, and I like to hear it from others, because I'm sure there's been times with you where, you may have had, especially right when COVID hit, everybody had to, okay, how do I do this now? So what was, looking back, because we're now, almost 20 months into this pandemic, looking back, what was the one thing that kept you going every single day to get through this whole shift in the way we do business?
Well, with COVID, as in any other pivot, so I've been in business for almost 20 years, like 2 decades. And of course, like it's been several pivots. Of course, not as big as this one, but it's been several times we had to pivot. Now, one of the craziest things is when COVID hit and I had to shut down. So I was like, the malls have to shut down, the city has to shut down. My mom thought I was crazy because I was actually excited. I said, do you mean that I don't have to get up tomorrow? I know they gonna do something about this rent, but even if not, I have my money saved up for months, so I don't have to go in. I don't have to deal with employees. I don't have to deal with crazy customers, and I can just focus on pivoting, because a lot of times you have to pivot in chaos. And I was like, I could pivot in peace. So it was just one thing that helped me shift. And it's every time I have to shift or every time I'm going through something, I always look on the bright side. Okay, I wasn't able to travel or go hang out as much, but I actually got to rest and think. And I think well, if I'm gonna do say so myself, I did a good job with my pivot.
Yeah, sounds like it. I like that, pivoting in
Like,
peace.
yeah, I pivot in peace.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, I love what you're doing. It's just, it seems like you're just bringing joy to so many people and helping them change their lives, and I think that's really amazing. So thank you for the work that you're doing. And so, Joy, is there anything else that you'd like to share with the audience?
Yes, well, I would like to share. During my pivot, I got a chance to like do a lot of marketing, recreate a lot of my products. We came out with the 60-second brow kit, which was great, which was something great that I enjoyed doing, because if you think about the shift and the pivot, you got to think about what people need. And so I know you were asking like what we had to do different. So I had to figure out how to reach my clients and help them and not be in front of them. So one of the things we did, we came out with a kit that helped them do their own eyebrows in 60 seconds instead of coming to us, which was great because it put us in a position now that not only if they can come get service, but we can also fulfill their product needs at home. So we're shifting more onto a product a product industry as most of more and less of a service industry that really had us working more.
Right. Oh, I love
hmm
it. And where can people find your information?
Well, that's a good question. You can follow me on all social media platforms at the Look by Joi, and Joy is spelled Joi. And if you want to purchase anything, you can come online and visit me at the www.thelookbyjoi, and Joy spelled JOI.com.
Fantastic. Love it. Well, Joy, it has been such a pleasure. And you've really filled my heart with a lot of joy today. I just keep saying that. I love it.
I love it too.
All right. Well, listen, I wish you the best of luck and success. And I love your pivoting and peace. And I think there's just so many great things to come for you. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. I received it.
What a joy it was having Joi Mebane on my podcast today. I hope you enjoyed the interview and maybe learned some tips that you can apply to your own business, or, if you're thinking about starting a business, because coming from somebody who has started many businesses and closed several of them, I know how hard it can be. So I love her attitude and resilience that she has had over 2 decades, being an entrepreneur. You can follow Joi on all the social media platforms at The Look by Joi, and Joi is spelled Joi. Her website is www.thelookbyjoi.com. So thank you so much for joining me today. You can check me out at sandeesgarlata.com. My Instagram and Facebook is at Coach Sandee Sgarlata. And as always, I hope that you and your family stay healthy and safe and happy, and that your lives are filled with so much joy. Take care, everyone.